Well, not a sight I get to see very often. Here we are then. It's the following day. The internal part of the firebox needed 24 hours to go off before I light the fire, but I thought I'd show you what was accomplished. So they resealed the ash pan door and they've refurbished the firebox door, which we had previously done ourselves, but we had lost half of this heat shield, which is made of metal, so they've replaced that with a reconditioned second-hand one, which is fine. And they have given us a new grate in the bottom of the firebox because our previous one had split in half. And unlike the one that was there before, this is a riddling one. I don't have the tool to hand, but essentially an existing tool we already have for opening up some of the circles on the top of the range there hooks on that, and it means that you can shake the ash out. Previously I just scraped it out using this tool in this fashion. It's good that we have this function, I suppose, but I know that in reality I'll probably still be scraping it out because these are never quite as good as you think, and they do tend to stop working. Anyway, this is the main thing which they did, which was to totally reline the inside with brand new fire bricks. I was told that they thought the bricks that were in there were probably the original ones, and I've got a suspicion this range has been in situ for between 20 to 30 years, so that's no mean feat. They lasted as well as they did, but we were on the lookout to replacing them anyway because they'd all started to crumble off. And then the main thing, of course, is the back boiler here, which is essentially sort of like a cereal packet in a way. The box of a cereal packet, so it's a rectangular void which has water go in and out of it through pipes at the back, and the heat from the fire heats the water, and that is how we have our hot water service. They did say there's every good chance, by the amount of corrosion that's underneath all of this, there's a chance that the back boiler had been leaking for a very long time, a very slow leak for a very long time, and because we light the range pretty much every single day of the year, if it was a very slow leak we'd hardly really have noticed, because of course the heat from the fire would put it out. They had to fashion together as best they could some parts, because apparently this leg here which the grate sits on had vanished. They say there's actually quite a lot of corrosion under there, and there's other bits and pieces, like you'll notice there's a bow to the top. So it is possible to take this job further, but obviously yesterday all that it was about was getting me back up and running. And they resealed around here as well. And I do now have running tap water again, so you may notice by my backlog of dishes it's just so irritating doing it the way I was. Anyway, so I was able to do that, and now what I'm about to do is light the range for the first time. I was advised to light a very, very small fire and then leave that for a little while, and then I can slowly start building it up over the course of the rest of the evening. That's just because it doesn't do it any good to get really hot really quickly. So I'm going to start slow and build it up gradually. I may not keep the fire going overnight tonight, I'm not too sure. I'll see how I feel. But anyway, that's where we're at. That's it. At this point in time, that is the end of this drama. But it's not the end of the story. Will and I have got plans for revamping the system, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, fingers crossed, we're back in business. Good morning. I'm very excited today for a number of reasons. Firstly, Will's coming home. He's maybe about a couple of hours away at this point. We haven't seen each other for over a week, so I'm really excited to see Will. It'll be so nice to have him back after the week that I had. If you aren't aware, didn't go well. You can look at the last two couples of vlogs if you're interested. Don't blame me if you're not. Anyway, and also I've got a nice day at home. It's a bit chilly, but it's sunny, and I'll be doing a few chores on the garden, and that always makes me happy. So I'm thinking I will start off with raking up the debris that the sulphur-crested cockatoos landed on the ground whilst they were munching off the trees. I meant to do that before the bonfire, but I forgot. So I'll start with that. I've got a bit of fertilising and stuff to do with the citrus. That's an ongoing thing. I'll probably prune the wisteria. I'll probably mow the lawns. So Will's back, and I'll have a nice day in the sunshine, at least in the morning, pottering around in the garden, so it'll be lovely. And in other news, I might go into this in a bit more detail later, but the range is amazing. It is so good. I'll maybe show you a bit later and explain the ways in which it has improved since it was partially renovated, and there's still work to be done should we want, so there's every chance that we will take that opportunity in the future after winter and sort of early spring has passed, when we're going to just need the range. But I think we'll take the opportunity to get it fully renovated, because what they did has made such a big difference. But I'll catch up all of that stuff with you later. I've just been doing a bit of tidying. It was very windy yesterday, so there's quite a lot of debris. But I've come now to one of my favourite garden tasks, which is pruning the wisteria, which goes all the way along this front formal fence line. I do this twice a year, every year. The first prune in autumn whilst it's still got its leaves on, and the second once the leaves have dropped later on in the season. And what this helps to do is to encourage it to flower rather than grow and grow and grow. So this first pruning, if I take this as an example, is to take it back from where it branches off to 5 leaf nodes, and then the second pruning, once the leaves are off, takes it down to 2. And you can probably see all these tendrils, and it's growing all up into this tree. That's the material that I will be removing, giving a nice little tidy. Here I am down at the drive, maybe 7 days-ish later, maybe more than I had planned to be down here. But I've made it eventually, and I guess in the meantime I did get the fire break done, so I needed to get that done anyway. Same old down here. I'll be clearing some of this tea tree away. I think I might actually clear quite a lot of this back actually to reinstate the view there of the pond. And then if I spin around, the other part of the project is just clearing this side of the fence line and also the overhanging trees here, so that when I'm mowing I don't bash my head. It's actually not looking too bad. I may not even have to do anything on these trees. I'm not sure what's happened regarding that this summer. I guess I may come back to it later on towards the end of the bonfire season just to double check, but that's not looking that bad. It was very windy recently, and you might be able to see, although I don't think this tree overhung the lawn here, came crashing down. That is the trouble with Australian trees, they do have a tendency to fall over. Anyway, all of this is part of my protecting the property from bushfire, by meaning that there's not overgrowth right at the driveway, but just also generally just trying to keep it looking attractive. So I'm going to crack on. I've got Will's car. He is back, but he's not needing it this morning, which is good, so I'll be going back and forth with loads to build up my second bonfire. There we go then. I won't update you on the whole drive, but hopefully you can see the difference. View of the pond yet again. I will come back down once I finish the sort of big removal with the tools and stuff with the brush cutter, just to get up these little bits and pieces which are more easily handled with that, and I'm very pleased with that. And on I will march. This is the lows. I'll just keep pushing forward till it's done.